Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining. This is the Oceano Wines Artist Collaboration Series where we highlight artists of all disciplines. My name is Rachel Martin. I am the co-owner of Oceano Wines. I too am an artist and I use wine as my medium for expression. My instruments are Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, and the rest is proprietary. Our guest today is artisan butcher Amanda Luhowiak of the Whole Ox in Marshall, Virginia. Hi, Amanda.
Hey, Rachel. How are you?
Thanks so much for joining. I'm really happy to see you. It's been it's been a while. So the Whole Ox is in Marshall, Virginia, which is a rural community about 50 miles west of Washington, D.C. It's close to Middleburg, Virginia, and that's where I spent 15 years running my family's vineyard and winery, Boxwood. And that's how Amanda and I got to know one another. Not only am I friends with Amanda, but I'm also a customer. I love the Whole Ox Butcher Shop and everything that she and her husband Derek do. It's just out of the box, and the quality of the meats and the way that they're prepared is second to none. So Amanda, I'd love for you to tell everyone what, besides a butcher shop, I know you provide much more than that, and the ethos behind what you do at the Whole Ox.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me, and it's so great to see you, Rachel. So the Whole Ox butcher shop in Marshall, Virginia was established in 2011. So we just turned 9 years old. And my husband and I decided to open the shop so that we could focus on we call ourselves a butcher shop first. So to primarily focus on the meats first and making sure that they're ethically sourced, sustainably grown or farmed meats, and that everything that we do is made with love. So what this kind of boils down to us, if you were to walk into the Whole Ox, is you will obviously see the meat counter sort of front and center, but you can find wines that are farmed with the same sort of love and sustainable and ethical implications. You can find local produce, eggs, a whole prepared foods line that we have. So
Hey, Rob.
I kind of think of us as a little mini grocery store.
Yes, I mean you sell so many different staple items and prepared foods and all that. So it's kind of a one-stop shop, which is great, if especially now, with COVID and during the pandemic, you don't really want to go to a grocery store where there are a lot of people and you just feel like you don't have as much control. So I'd love to, so 2011 is when you started, and what made you start the Whole Ox, and how many different levels did you go through? So what was the beginning, middle to where you are now?
Well, the very beginning was not the Whole Ox at all. My husband and I owned a food truck for about 2 years. And we went around to community festivals and farmers markets and wineries and all sorts of fun stuff like that with our 6x10 kitchen trailer, cooking up everything from burgers to charcuterie plates, salads, curries, all sorts of fun stuff. But for us, this was too mobile. And I was sort of thinking that if we were going to farmers markets or we were traveling to Whole Foods, which is approximately 45 minutes to an hour away from where the Whole Ox is located, how could we do something within our own community where we could showcase farmers and growers and help people not have to travel so many food miles, whether that was people driving to other grocery stores to get what they were looking for, or farmers right in our very own community that didn't have an outlet to sell their goods. And so back in 2011, once the food cart had shut down and we knew that we wanted to do something a little bit more bricks and mortar or permanent in our community, that's where the whole idea of the butcher shop came to fruition. And then we have had 3 locations, which you're probably familiar with, but maybe all of our other people that are tuning in are not. We've had 3 locations in the 9 years. We started off inside of a local grocery store for year 1. And then we found our first independent location in the Plains, Virginia, from roughly 2012 to 2015. And then we made our way back to Marshall Main Street there in Marshall, Virginia, where you can find us now. It's the front of the shop at the Holiday Center.
The front of the shop. And then that's the side.
Yep, sidewalk view. So we made our way back to Marshall, and this is images of our current location, and we've already been there now for five years back in Marshall. So that's
it's a beautiful building. Yeah, I love the building. Tell me a little bit about the building. What was it before it was your butcher shop?
So we might readdress this, but I am from Marshall, Virginia. I've always loved this building. And for years growing up, it was kind of in shambles and nothing was really happening with it. It was built in 1913 as the First National Bank of Marshall. And I believe remained that for some number of years until the bank built a building across and just down the street in the Main Street area. And then the post office needed a larger space, the local post office. So they took it over until sometime in the 70s when they then built a new facility right next door. And then since the 70s, it has just been on and off kind of office space and art gallery, all kinds of kind of strange things for a while until we were able to get involved with the people who own the building and do some remodeling and make it the Luhowiak's home. Yeah,
it's a gorgeous place. I've been there so many times, and I was there for the grand opening, and I go to your anniversaries. You guys really know how to throw a party, and you sure can get down cooking some delicious food. So how was it becoming an entrepreneur and starting a business? Were you nervous? Were you scared? Was there any hesitation?
I guess probably not. I graduated from the University of Tennessee back in 2004, and I sort of felt like I needed to go to school because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, which is not that uncommon for someone in their early 20s. Mm-hmm. And I had toyed around with starting some of my own businesses, like things in photography and in art and things like that. And my dad has been self-employed my whole entire life as a local independent contractor. And my mother has worked as a mortgage loan officer. So I guess watching them for all of those years sort of set their own schedules and be responsible for their own income, I think made me feel much more comfortable as becoming an entrepreneur for myself. It's certainly scary. There's certainly a lot that goes into it. But I think it just sort of felt like a natural progression once my husband Derek and I got together and knew that we wanted to do something together for ourselves and to better our community.
Yeah, well, I mean, giving back to your community, I mean, where you were born and bred, that must have a lot of personal satisfaction for you.
It's absolutely amazing. We've been able to do things simply by just owning a business, like employing people. We have a 12 to 14 person staff at any given time, 12 of us being full time, and then a couple of part-time people that come in during the holiday times. We're able to work with the local schools. We're able to work with local community food banks like Fauquier Fish. I guess we coined this phrase, so to speak, but every holiday season we do what we call a share a cow instead of a cow share. And we basically ask our community for monetary donations so that we can purchase a whole local beef, and the processor donates the packaging and all of those goods, depending upon how we've raised everywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 in a year to buy local beef, which supports the farm and then also puts food into the food bank. So
Yeah. That's so cool. I admire that about you and Derek. So tell us, like, how did you become a butcher? How did you learn? How long did that take you? And tell me maybe like a little bit of an insider, like what is your favorite part about it?
well, I think I definitely took a very untraditional route. There's not really a butcher school that you go to, so to speak, in the United States. But I did grow up the only child of an avid hunter and fisher. So it was very fun for me to go out hunting with my dad, or processing fish or squirrel, or small game birds and things like that when I was younger. So I kind
Awesome.
of inadvertently was doing a lot of training as a young child for what would later on become my career. And I don't know, just family gatherings were always so cool and always food focused, that I knew how to clean things and do dishes and put food out and make buffets and things like that. But really, upon meeting Derek, who was classically trained, went to culinary school, we were able to combine our efforts, and he really did a lot of training for me, specifically on the retail cuts and how to fabricate animals and what fun things to do, as to the technicalities of being able to make sausage or smoke bacon or cure duck legs, or any of those sorts of fun things that are all meat oriented.
Yeah, tell me about your relationships with the farms and how you select, like, who you work with, and yeah, the ethos behind that. But before you answer, I just want to say we're cheers,
Oh, cheers.
Amanda. We're both drinking some Oceano Chardonnay. We just happen to have it stocked.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Cheers. Amanda and Derek carry our wines in the shop there at the Whole Ox. But sorry, Amanda, let's get back to the farmers.
No, so the farmers, I kind of like to let our customers know to think of us as the liaisons between them and their farmers. So, like, what we try to do whenever possible, and certainly Derek and I do it ourselves, but whenever we can even get small groups to have our staff come along so that they're more educated and that they see things firsthand, we go visit the farms. We learn what the farmers' practices are. We know them. We have seen over the last 12 years, we've seen their children grow up. And we've kind of inadvertently become parts of their family. So it's never as cut and dry as one way or the other, but it's been basically our lifetime here together, and our business life together, making sure that we're working with farmers that are doing all of the same things that we're asking them to do, putting love into their farming practices and treating their animals and their employees and their farm hands all, and the environment. That's another huge part of it, is making sure that all of this is really great for the environment. So I'm not sure that there's one exact answer as to how we found them all, but we've built a lot of great relationships over the years and have worked with many of those people for the entire 9 or 10 years that we've had our businesses.
So you work with, of course, farms that raise animals, but what about, like, because you also have produce
Correct.
at the shop. So is it the same farmers, or some do produce only and some do both?
I would say that in Virginia, the majority of people are specializing. So people, I mean, some do both, but we found that, like, maybe one farm, even though they do lamb and chickens and all kinds of fun produce, they're like, maybe their shining star is the produce. And then Sally over here that grows lamb is the person that I prefer to get the lamb from, because she only has a lamb operation. She doesn't do anything else. So I would say that in Virginia, it's pretty diversified. Like, there's a lot of different farmers doing different things, and all we're asking them to do is to be completely transparent and share some information with us and give us a good old farm tour and let us know, you know,
Nice.
where their animals are and where they're living and what they're eating and all of that stuff, so that we can make sure to let our customers know exactly where their food is coming from.
That's beautiful. And I know that they appreciate that because I'm a customer and I do as well. Just going to show a couple pics from some meats from the whole ox. Now, this is a beautiful, beautiful picture. Can you tell us what is pictured here?
Yeah, so we have some local bone-in ribeyes, kind of long bone ribeyes cut in between the bone. They're probably about 2.5 inches thick, maybe about 3 pounds of steak, marinated with tons of fresh herbs and garlic and a little bit of salt and pepper, waiting to go on an open fire grill.
It looks very, like mouth-watering. So, and then I was really intrigued by this picture too. You don't often find bison and find it treated in such a way.
No, this is actually really fun, and a lot of people may or may not know, but we have a couple of local bison farms just outside of Fauquier County, over in Culpeper, Madison counties, kind of along those county lines, a little bit south of Fauquier County. And this is a local bison New York strip, which has been coffee rubbed, so coffee grounds and fresh herbs and salt and pepper.
So beautiful. You also have a line of prepared foods as well, which is great for people who don't have time or maybe skills to cook in the same way that you guys prepare your foods. Here's one example, and my husband and I have eaten quite a few of these in our time. But this is a steak and mushroom pie.
Yeah, steak and mushroom pie. So this is another kind of fun thing. I think that initially our prepared foods line was built out of necessity, right? You don't always know what a customer is going to want on any given weekend, or this, that, and the other. So you order in, you take your best guess, right? You order in, you book from your local farms, you process down everything, you get your meat case set and ready. And sometimes something you thought was going to be really popular for said weekend or week or what have you isn't. And so we wanted to make things that were very recognizable for people at home, very easy. Like you were saying, Rachel, sometimes when your schedule gets busy and stuff like that, you just want something that's super easy. You can toss into the oven, have a glass or two of Chardonnay while it's cooking, and then dinner is served.
Right.
So everything from the steak pies that you were showing before, to chicken pot pies, macaroni and cheese, tons of different soups, stocks, and sauces. But what creating this prepared food lines helped us do is make sure that we're utilizing the whole animal, that every ounce of bones and fat and this, that, and the other, that other people that customers aren't necessarily wanting to buy, are getting used to make stocks and go into soups and go into bone broths and things like that. So it eventually became its thing of its own. But it helps us use from nose to tail.
And then you have a hot sauce line.
Yeah, so this one actually came to us because this was not originally our brainchild. So I cannot take credit for it, but there is an old local guy, very nice. Everyone loves him. This hot sauce had been around for a very long time. He resides in the Plains, and he just really was getting to a point where he really did not want to do the hot sauce company anymore. Mm. And it was one of Derek and I's favorites, so we didn't want to see it go away. And so we talked to him back and forth a little bit. He shared his recipe, and we hope that we can do it justice for the future. We've had it for a few years now, and it fell off due to a couple of personal things. Fell off for a little while, but it's coming back, and people are super stoked, and they recognize the brand. And so we hope that eventually I would like to be able to do something with it that is a little bit more nationally recognized, or that we could ship or include in gift baskets or
Great. Yeah. Well, are you shipping now?
We are not currently shipping. I really hope that shipping becomes a part of our 2021 plans. We've got some beautiful salamis. We've got some beautiful frozen sausages that are being made. Right now, we have not filed for all the specific paperwork to legally ship across state lines. So I hope that in 2021, that's the way that we'll be able to expand with both our salami, sausages, and also the hot sauce.
Yeah, well, I have the hot sauce in my refrigerator, and it's pretty hot. Okay, so those habaneros underneath the bottles were no joke. So Rob's asking, where is our winery and if we have a tasting room? Well, Rob, we do not have a tasting room. Our wines are made in Napa. The grapes are grown on the extreme coast of San Luis Obispo. So all of our consumer sales are done online on our website, which is oceanowines.com. We have plans to open a tasting room in 2021, so stay tuned for that. But at this time, I'm doing virtual tastings. So if you're interested, go on the website, buy a virtual tasting flight, get in touch with me, and we can work something out. Thanks for asking. So Amanda, during in the start of the pandemic, you guys, just kind of like really quickly swiveled into a new way of doing business and serving your customers. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey during the pandemic and where you are now?
Yeah, I guess I would probably start, Rachel, with for those that don't know, we do have a small restaurant aspect, and I kind of like to think of it as either a deli or a diner sort of thing, where we serve fresh daily ground burgers, fried chicken sandwiches, French fries, some salads, some soup, stuff like that. And having that restaurant aspect inside of the butcher shop has been really super popular, very successful in a small community. However, we sort of saw when things started to shift in late February, early March, that wouldn't be something that would specifically need to be our focus. And being approximately 8.5 years old when the pandemic hit, there were things we had talked about doing, like delivery or online ordering services and all of these things, but it hadn't really come to the top of the to-do list, if you will, to make those things happen. And we knew that not only to keep ourselves safe and our staff safe, but to keep our customers safe and to keep things flowing and to keep people getting what they wanted, whether they wanted to stock up on their freezers or what have you, that the best thing that we could do is launch an online ordering system and a delivery service. And with the online ordering system, that would provide customers to come through for a no contact pickup, literally just knock on the door or call us when they were outside, and we would run everything out to their car. And so I know a lot of food and wine and restaurants have really been hit very hard during this pandemic, and my hearts go out to all of those people. But we were just able to implement things we had already talked about and get them going, so that we could just keep trucking, so that we could just keep getting at. And I think one of the best things for me during the pandemic was we already work with small local farms and we already work with independent producers. So our food chain wasn't like, there was no break in that food chain. We were able to consistently get product the way that we always do, and good product and local product. And so other than just being slightly busier and implementing the curbside pickup, online ordering, and the delivery,
I think it's amazing that you're actually able to hire during the pandemic. So not only were you keeping the food source available for the community, you're also adding jobs to the community, and that's incredible. Really.
Well, thank you very much. Again, it was just based on a sort of supply and demand situation, and we were happy to do it. We have been anywhere from a 4-person staff to a 25-person staff over the years that we've been in business with the Luhowiaks. And so, of course, we're happy to do it. We want to employ as many people that live in our community and that we can give successful lives to. And that actually just brings me to one quick point, Rachel. About almost 10 years ago, when Derek and I started the Luhowiaks, what we wanted to strive for. You hear of all of these terms about ethically sourced and sustainably grown and all of these things that people are doing with farming and food and restaurants. But we wanted to make sure that the people that work in those industries can have a sustainable lifestyle as well, right? So we are closed every single Sunday and Monday unless there's something special going on, so that people have, we have reasonably normal business hours, closing up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. We pay fair wages. We want our staff to be happy. We get good time off around the holidays, and we know the importance of us and our staff being able to be with their families and get their normal life things done. So, it's not only just a sustainable about the environment or about farming, but it's a sustainability aspect of how we're all living our lives.
Yeah, for sure. And so you were selected by the James Beard Foundation for a fellowship program. Congratulations. It's a highly coveted spot. Can you tell us a little bit about that fellowship program?
It has been such an amazing experience. I'm so honored and thankful to have been selected for this year's James Beard Well Fellowship. It did take on a completely different face this year with the pandemic. Usually the class, which is 20 to 25 women who get selected each year, go up to Babson College and spend a week or 8 days together, going through all these amazing courses with professors and getting to hang out and eat meals and talk business. And so for this year, they didn't want to have to put a pause in the program, so they did it all virtually over an 8-week time frame, which went from October 1st until right before Thanksgiving. And it was about 4 or 5 hours a week worth of work and Zooms and classes and all of that stuff. But it was so beneficial just to get to meet other women in our industry. One woman owns a distillery, one woman owns a winery, much like yourself, my dear. Many restaurateurs and chefs, and myself owning the butcher shop. And to be able to be included in a program like that and be able to make contacts of people that I likely never would have been able to meet. Marshall isn't the exact destination for all vacations or what have you, and we all work so many hours, so the likelihood of me being able to get out and meet some of these women is a little slim. So that camaraderie and friendship and entrepreneur minded, it's just invaluable to be included in something like that.
Yeah, well, it says a lot that you were included in that program. It really speaks to your dedication and your background and your future.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I want everyone to be able to find you. So how do we find the Holocks?
Oh Lord, you're gonna put me on the spot with all these handles. So you can come to our shop, 8357 West Main Street, Marshall, Virginia. You can always give us a call on the phone and say, hey, even if there's nothing you need, but you just want to have a friendly conversation, that's at 540-724-1650. And then on the social media worlds, we're on Instagram at The Holocks, Facebook, The Holocks, both a business and a group page. What am I forgetting? I think that's it.
I think that's it. Check it out on the website. Yeah, check it on the website, Facebook, Instagram. They've got
website, theholocks.com. How could I forget?
Yeah, theholocks.com. They've got beautiful images, and they're just a super dynamic company and providing essential food, just essential things for the community and being a huge part of the community as well. Let's see. Camille says, so Camille's commented, by the way, she's a UT alum as well, she says. But she said the Holocks has also supported artists like herself and Belle Epoque Pottery. It's a good segue to tomorrow. We're going to have Camille Morin on. She made 88 plates for the Holocks when they were in the fine dining phase of their operation. It was a huge boon for her to be able to launch her brand, and she thanks you for that.
Oh, that's awesome, Camille. Thank you.
So if you would go and like and follow at The Whole Ox and at Oceano Wines on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to Oceano Wines YouTube channel. I will DM you with details how to save on wine and have a free virtual tasting with me. And if I can, wrestle my husband, Kurt Deutsch, who is co-owner of Oceano Wines, to be on that virtual tasting with me, I promise you that I will. And so tomorrow at 3 p.m., same place, we're going to have Camille Morin, Bee Pottery. She's Bee Pottery is her handle. It's Bella Pock Pottery. And she's a ceramicist and artist and amazing, roller skater, the whole nine. Who knows what she's going to show up in tomorrow. Amanda, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just want to say thank you again and cheers, Rachel. Thanks so much for doing this and putting our name out there. Like, we love what we do and we're super passionate, much as you are there. You and Kurt are there at Oceano, and we love partnering up with you. And if anybody needs anything who's in the local area, both of the wines are in the shop right now if they need Christmas presents or anything like that. Yes. So no, thank you so much. This is such a great experience.
You're welcome, and I look forward to doing some recipes with you and Derek to pair with the wine soon. So everyone could look out for that. Thank you so much for joining, Amanda. Thank you for being here with me. Everyone, take care and be safe.
Cheers.
Cheers.